Hey everybody, welcome back to another episode of A Girls Podcast. So, last time my episode wasn't super great, and that's fine. I don't have to be on point every time. No way. But today I haven't really decided what I'm going to talk about, but let's go. Okay, so today is actually a public holiday in Sweden, and I can't remember what one it is. I think it's some sort of religious thing, but I could be wrong. So anyway, I have the day off. The first thing I did was wake up and think, wow, it must be like 9 or 10 o'clock because the sun is shining through my curtains and it feels pretty warm. So, but I thought, well, I'm still pretty tired, so I'm going to keep on having a little snooze. So I did that, and then eventually I got to the point where, you snooze for a little bit, and then you're like, I should really check the clock and make sure that it's not midday and I'm missing out on the whole day. So I look at the clock, and it was 7:30. So I reckon that I must have woken up at about 6:30 or something like that, maybe 7 o'clock. So woke up pretty early. And then obviously I was browsing Reddit and just having a good time. But I did decide that since it's such a lovely day, I should go for a little bit of a swim. So it would be the first swim of the summer season, actually. There are some people who are saying that it's not summer, but it's only 1 month until midsummer, which means that, okay, so each season has 3 months, right? Like technically, that's how it should be. So if we're 1 month until the middle of summer, then it must be summertime, right? Like, hello. But Swedes are really into, like, you can only call it summer if it has been hot for a full week. And I'm like, what type of calculation is that? That doesn't really fit in with me. So anyway, first swim of the summer. So I get up, get dressed in my lovely summer outfit, headed out, and it's about a 30-minute walk, 30-minute walk to the castle, first of all. And then in front of the castle is a big lake. So I get there, and I was a little bit disappointed to see that there were some people already on like the little ramp thing that you can jump off into the water. I personally don't like jumping into the water because I feel as though you don't acclimatize as well. But I was thinking that it'd be a good, I was hoping that there wouldn't be people there so I could just sort of take my time and not feel too embarrassed or anything like that. But there were people there. There were 2 people fishing, some other people who I guess were just sitting and enjoying the sun. And then there was a couple who were just doing a quick dip into the water. Dip, I don't know. Anyway, so instead I went around like further away from that little bridge to where they had a park bench, which was like a perfect spot for sitting and watching the water and looking over the lake. So anyway, I put my stuff down there, got changed into my swimming togs, and then I was going to go into the water. And so I did that pretty slowly, and it was so cold. It was freaking freezing. It was such a big shock, and I was really worried that I wouldn't be able to stay in the water. It wasn't as bad as it could have been, like it could have been like just feeling it on my toes. I would have freaked out and not been able to do it. But for some reason I had strength today, so I just kept on going, and then eventually I could swim. So I did like a little bit of a doggy paddle, and then other times I'd go on my back and like swim like this. And then I swam sort of the length of that little bridge, which wasn't really far, but like time spent in the water, I was in the water for like 5 minutes, which doesn't sound like a lot, but if you think about it in like Swedish time, because Swedes don't really swim, they like jump in the water and then they get out, and then they'll warm up, and then they'll jump in the water again and get out. Like that's what they call going bathing or going for a swim or whatever. So me doing like an actual swim, even though it's only 5 minutes, which is kind of an embarrassment in like New Zealand terms, it was still pretty good. So I feel as though people were pretty impressed. Like I feel like the couple who had just jumped in and jumped out were looking at me like, you know, I'm basically Superwoman. But eventually I swam back, which actually I probably did some really good timing in regards to that, because sometimes I stay in the water way too long. So then when I get out, I'm really freezing, like the cold has gotten into my core and I'm just suffering so bad. But I got out of the water and I just sat down and was enjoying the sun. It was a little bit breezy, so when the sun went behind the clouds, then it actually did feel quite cold. But anyway, so I did my first swim of the summer, and I'm really looking forward to when the water actually warms up, because the water in Sweden actually gets pretty warm. Like it'll be 20, 21 degrees in the water, you know, if you have consistently good weather. So that could mean that I could be spending a whole day at the lake, you know, going for a swim for like 15, 20 minutes, getting out, having something to eat, and then swimming again. Like that would be so awesome. So I'm super looking forward to it. This time I walked, but I could possibly bike. I'm thinking that possibly after work in like the middle of summer, then I will leave my bike at the train station, hop on my bike to the lake and go for a swim after work, and then bike home and just go straight to bed. That would be super awesome. So there's lots of exciting stuff waiting for me this summer, which has obviously really improved how I feel in life. So last week I was on holiday and I managed to like have a bit of improvement in my shoulder pain, and obviously my mood was a little bit better because I wasn't at work. But the first day back at work, so 4 days ago, oh my gosh, it just started straight away. Like just all of the garbage that has been going on at work just continued on. So my mood just plummeted and I was feeling really anxious because when I feel not so great for longer periods of time, so basically when I start to be depressed, and I consider myself to be in like a mild depression right now, so when that happens, then I feel a lot of anxiety about all sorts of different things, like things that I probably actually don't really bother me at all, but if I'm in this lower state of mood consistently, then my anxiety spikes and my mind like finds things to be anxious about. So Monday brought that all back, and I've just been feeling really anxious about and thinking about my work permit, friendships, relationships, money, future plans. So just all sorts of different things that aren't even a problem. So obviously the work permit is something that is going to be an anxious time for me, but it doesn't have to be, you know. So being in this lower state kind of makes it super difficult for me to not be positive about it, because ever since the last work permit extension, I have had a lot more positivity about it. I sort of think that everything will work out all right, but it's hard to feel that way when things aren't going so well at work. And yeah, but now today I've had a really good day, and I'm planning on making sure that in the weekends I do get a lot of rest, do a lot of fun stuff that I'll enjoy and appreciate. And also another plan that I have to sort of not be anxious, or to try and avoid anxiety, is to make fun plans for possible futures. So basically, like, making plan Bs and plan Cs and plan Ds that will be really fun and exciting, so that I can sort of think to myself that if things go really badly and nothing works out and everything just goes super bad, well, in that case, I'll move to pick whatever country you want, and I'll start studying, and I'll do fun stuff there and make new friends. So, like, making plans that sound really fun and probably won't happen, because probably everything will work out in my plan A, but just, thinking of alternatives in a really positive way. So not being like, if my plan A doesn't work out, then I have this plan B, which will really suck, and I'll have to move away from Sweden and sell my apartment, and it'll be so stressful, blah, blah, blah. Instead of being like that, instead thinking like, yeah, I'll sell my apartment, probably make a little bit of profit, boom, 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 everything's going to work out, it's going to be so awesome, it'll probably be even better than staying in Sweden. Yeah. So already I feel like that has started to pay off. But obviously a drawback from doing that is not sticking to portions of my plan A. So I have to watch out to make sure that I actually do stick to my plan A plans. So, saving goals and I guess self-care goals as well and things like that. Gotta stick to it while also creating fantasy lives that can help me escape from the reality that I am in. Okay, so I do have something a little bit interesting to talk about, which is work, but in a positive kind of way. So one cool thing that has been going on at work is that I've been given sort of different jobs. So as you guys know, well, you might probably know, is that my main job is taking deliveries to the hospital, packing them up, delivering them to the hospital, putting them in the right place, like all the needles and all the plasters and everything. That's like the main job that we do. So we spend like at least half the month doing that, basically. But now I've been given a sort of, I guess, graphic design job. So for example, there's this person at work who needs like a design of the buildings at work for me to make a design that represents that, and then make a poster with all sorts of information, and it has to be ready by next week, so a bit of crunch time at the moment. But anyway, so I have this job and it's right up my alley. Like, I do a lot of drawing, and I had started already to do a little bit of like digital artwork on my iPad. So I have been looking into doing more digital art and, studying it a little bit and trying to get better at that. And since I have this job at work, then I can actually spend time at work looking at graphic design techniques and trying to make this image that this lady wants. So the first piece that I did is like a suggested piece. It didn't go down well. Like, she said it was really nice, but she also said that it wasn't what she was looking for. So basically, when I got the job, it was expressed to me that I could do whatever I wanted, but that wasn't actually the case. So she actually had like a pretty good idea of what she really wanted, and she even showed me images the second time around after she rejected the first proposal. So then the second one I don't have as much time to do, obviously, which is not very good, because the design that she wants is something that I have never done before. It's also not up my alley at all, because basically the art that I'm interested in doing is very colorful. You know, my sort of like artist theory is that color in life is basically everything. You know, like tone and mood is set with color, and I sort of think that if we lived in a black and white world, it would be very difficult to understand emotions and expressions and intent behind all sorts of things like buildings, artwork, you know, just like cultural things. So this black and white piece that she wants, it would require more time, more study, and more patience from myself, but I don't have that. So anyway, I did like a quick thing. No, I mean, it wasn't quick, it took me ages, but quick in regards to like the previous one where I had more time. And then I sent that in, so I hope that it works out well. But the thing is that I actually do not like it, so it'll be interesting to find out if she likes it or not. But anyway, it's still really cool and exciting that I get to do this thing that is my thing, you know. And that has made me a little bit proud of myself, to be honest, that I could find this work to do, because basically I created this job for myself, because I basically went to my boss and I was like, you know, I have studied art and I am really good at making these posters and doing this stuff, and, you know, taking less time than if we paid another company to do it, and it's, you know, we can do like a quick turnaround. You know, the hospital doesn't have to wait for delivery time because I'm on the spot, so I can print it out and give it to them directly. So I basically created this job for myself, and he hopped on board and he was like really excited, because basically with me doing this, it gives us more payment. We can take more time for it, you know, so it basically works out really well for him, because it's going to show that he has brought in like more profit into our specific group. So he was super excited about it, and it's kind of worked out really well. So it's really nice to have worked and convinced somebody to give me this job, and I'm really happy about that. So even though I talk a lot of negative stuff about work, and obviously as a big overall you know, bigger picture thing, things aren't going well at work, but zooming in on this other thing really shows, you know, a little glimpse of light and happiness, and I try to focus on that. If we do want to look at the downsides of this little project that I've managed to get for myself, I still have to do all of the other work that I have to do at work, and there's also a lot of, I guess, disrespect in a way from my coworkers, because oftentimes they think that I'm not actually working, or they say things in a way that really sounds like they think that I'm just, just sitting in the office, not really doing much, because obviously the work is on the computer, so it just looks like possibly that I'm just sitting there, looking at Facebook or whatever, I don't know. And that creates a lot of stress, because you really need your coworkers to trust you that you're actually doing your job and that you're doing what the things that you're being paid to do. So that adds an extra element of stress to it. For example, and this is kind of unrelated, but like my coworker and I got called into a meeting. For her, it was last minute. Like the boss was just like, "Hey, do you want to join us?" So she did that, and obviously I was there as well. And we were in this meeting for an hour. And then when we got out of the meeting, our coworkers were like, "Oh, we thought you went home." And so there were like this series of jobs that we had to do, which like the other people should have done it in a way, because like really time sensitive stuff, and we were in the meeting, but they didn't do it. And then they like kind of accused us of like not being there on the job, even though we were in this meeting with our boss. Like we couldn't skip the meeting. So it's just not a good place when your coworkers are not respecting that you are a good coworker, basically. So yeah, anyway, I think I've talked quite a bit now, and I do have some things that I want to talk about for the next episode, so I'll save them until that episode, and hopefully it'll be really exciting. But anyway, make sure that you come back next week and have a really good weekend. I'll see you guys all next time. Hej då!